It's the 20th annual Banjo Bowl. It goes live Saturday afternoon and the debut of the CFL on CTV. This game will not be on TSN, and it's a special one, being the 20th annual Banjo Bowl. The Bombers have won 7 of these past 8 Labor Day rematch games in Winnipeg, and it all goes down Saturday. I can't wait for it. I'm fired up. This guy's fired up. Chris Walby, how you feeling, brother? What did you think of that 35-33 nail-biter, barn burner, true Labor Day classic in Regina last week? Whew, what a game.
I thought it was a great game, probably the best game I've seen all year, the way they played, the way the Saskatchewan came back. The fact that I'm obviously a lot happier now that I know Zach's back. But the way that Trevor Harris played in that second half, I mean, Bombers very fortunate. They get the PI and they have to force a 60-yard attempt by Brett Lother, whose career best is 55. Falls a little short, was straight at it, though. They found another way to squeak out a win in enemy territory. But I don't think it's going to be that easy for Saskatchewan tomorrow. I think it's going to be ugly for the Riders.
Yeah, we know these games are always fueled with a little bit extra. It's going to be physical. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be loud. There's going to be it's been sold out since early July. This game is the most anticipated game on the CFL calendar, and I will say that with confidence because this is the number one rivalry in the Canadian Football League, in Canadian sports for my dollar. And with what we saw last week, Winnipeg passing Saskatchewan in the West Division standings, taking first place, and doing it in such dramatic fashion with so many controversial moments, razor-thin calls, coin flip situations where the game could have gone either way in Saskatchewan's first sellout and only sellout so far this season. But when the Banjo Bowl goes down, Chris, all eyes are going to be on the Blue Bombers quarterback, Zach Collaros. Great news. He returned to debuted in practice this week. Did not miss any time. He will start at quarterback for the Blue Bombers in the Banjo Bowl on Saturday, following that hit to the head from defensive lineman of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Miles Brown. Brown was fined by the CFL. It's roughly half a game check. And to give people a gauge, Chris, the CFL league minimum now is $70,000. Gone are the days of being 49 or 52,000 bucks. It's 70 grand. So a game check, you divide 70,000 by 18 games in the year, that's $3,800 before tax. Cut that in half. This is a $2,000 fine before tax, and a little bit less, obviously, after tax. But the hit was one that has been hotly debated since it happened through to now. How did you see it go down as we take a look at it here on GameDay Winnipeg?
You know what? The way I look at it, buddy, is it's just a big man trying to stop. If you look at him, and I listened to the head coach, Corey Mason, he said, well, watch it, you hit. Now, the shoulder does get him.
We're going to get lots of views on this. Lots of looks.
It's more the shoulder pad. He said he tried to turn his head to avoid the head-to-head. That's what he said. Look. He's trying to turn his head. Well, I'll be honest with you. It was late. Definitely late. That was late. I'm not going to defend it, but I'm going to say it's tough when you got a guy coming down. These athletes are different athletes. They're fast. They're big. They live 12 months of the year.
I get it.
And when you got a guy that big, the ball's gone. Okay, there it is. It's gone.
Now, he says he turns his head to avoid the helmet-to-helmet contact. Ball's out. I understand it's a bang-bang play. It's very quick. I understand all that. Just watch him from here. He has enough time to twist and throw his shoulder into Collaros. Why not twist the other way?
What do you think? He's a dancer? Going to be on Dance with the Stars? No, he's a big man.
He chose to throw his shoulder. Look.
I know. To me, it was more the shoulder than the helmet. But the problem is, it doesn't matter if it's a shoulder. It was a contact to the helmet. That's the big thing.
If you
That's
put
the
a
thing you
finger
can't
on
deny.
a quarterback's helmet, it's a penalty.
Well, I know. And the thing is, it was late. And there was an old rule. The old days when we played, it was 3 steps. And then he kind of said, no more. It doesn't matter if it's 1 step, 2 steps. Any kind of contact to the helmet, it's a penalty. Very fortunate, as we all know, that Zach has a history with concussions. I didn't realize until I read about it that it was the third Labor Day in a row where he had been hit. And I mean, the first one that was the most serious was, I believe, in Hamilton or against Hamilton when he was with Saskatchewan. And the linebacker, your buddy, number 21,
that
put him
was
out for the year.
Chris, that was not a Labor Day game. That was a season opener.
No, the season opener, but I'm just saying.
But, yes.
Well, so you're right.
He's been hit. He's been knocked out of three Labor Day games in a row. This has happened.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm just happy the guy is okay. I think it'd be a different. I think it would be a different animal. How was he not playing? I think it might be a different animal. And I'm not going against Strebler because I thought Strebler 4 of 6. Made a crucial couple throws, but he's such a running threat. That's the big thing. I just think that right now having what I think is a healthy, say 90%. Nobody's 100% now at this time of the year, but a healthier. Let me correct that word. Healthier Zach Collaros gives us a great opportunity to come out of this with a win, because I think right now it's going to be very tough for Saskatchewan. We came out of there, squeaked the win out in Labor Day at Mosaic. Crazy crowd there. 2 best fan bases in Canada in the prairies, and that is Saskatchewan and Winnipeg as we look at them again. But that was a nasty hit. Whether it was a shoulder, whether it was a helmet to helmet, you're not allowed to make contact with the helmet. That happened. He got fined, as you say. And I don't care what anybody says, man. You take any money out of a wallet, it hurts you. Most of these guys got families. And you're taking, like you say, half a paycheck out of their day, But you look at Corey Mace, he says, the guys had 2 penalties this year, and both of them are roughing the passer. The other one, I don't believe was his fault. He got cut, rolled into Drew Brown's ankle. Mm-hmm. That's a tough one. But this one was deliberate. I mean, he kept coming. But anyway, to digress, I guess the thing is that Zach's back, and that's a big thing for the Bomber offense.
Well, and something that is still not the news we were expecting, definitely not good news for Bombers fans, is that Stanley Bryant remains out of the lineup. He has been moved from the 6-game to the 1-game injured list. As we take a look at the Blue Bombers injured list and depth chart right now, there's Stanley Bryant on the 1-game. Adam Bighill, look, on the 6-game. And look, Chris, that was an awful looking play. I don't have any inside information on this, okay? None. However, it's clear to me I would be blown away if Adam Bighill played another snap this season. That knee injury looked awful, and it stinks for Winnipeg, for Adam, his family.
Absolutely.
At this stage of his career, that's a tough hit. So he comes out of the Blue Bombers lineup, and
absolutely,
I'm not sure if we're going to see him again.
He's the QB of that defense. I mean, the second leading tackler behind Evan Holmes, but he is the guy that stirs the drink of that defense. I mean, he makes all the defensive calls. He's got the experience, and I know they're showing Shane Gauthier there, but I bet you it'll be Tony Jones.
100%.
Tony Jones played a really excellent game filling in for Bighill when he got hurt. Yeah. 7 tackles. I think he had a couple special teams ones too.
I think we'll see a lot of Ayers too. Michael Ayers.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, now listen, I hope it's not as serious. I know knee injuries are tough. He's had a hamstring injury. Last year was a thigh. Now it's a knee. All bottom half injuries. But knees are tough to come back from. But especially when you get, up in the age. I mean, that's a tough – and especially at a position he plays where he throws his body into the pile. You watch him in short yardage, he goes over the pile every time. I mean, he's a vicious guy. I mean,
every position on the field takes a beating in a football game, and you guys in the trenches probably more so than the DBs and the receivers on the outside. But they might take some heavy, stronger blows less often, right? You guys might take lesser blows every single snap. That said, Chris, I don't know if there's a position on the football field that has more rigor to it than middle linebacker. You put yourself in harm's way. That's your job.
Well, that's the thing, right? And you have to go, they call it sideline to sideline. That's how they judge you, right? A lot of the old style was the middle linebacker just had to go tackle to tackle. and they rely on the other because a lot of teams we played 3-4 where we had 4 linebackers. But a middle linebacker like Adam, it's just a leader. First off, that's the other thing you miss. Yeah, he'll be on the sidelines, and that's gonna be a suck for him. But he is a vocal leader in that huddle. He yells out as he sees formations. They adjust on the go. That's something I think that experience teach. I don't think, and I know I'm not misspeaking here, but I don't think you replace an Adam Bighill. I don't think you do. You try and get somebody to feel part of that, but I don't know if you can have anybody can come in and just say, hey, I'm going to fill those shoes entirely. And I don't think it's going to happen.
I've said it.
Oh, that's Adam Bighill.
Oh, he's calling you. What did you say about me, Bluto?
Adam's like, I love you, man. Love you, man. Thank you for the comments. Well, I know Adam well because he works with my investment firm. He's working for them now, and they love him. They love the job he's doing. So, he's, and you hate to say it, but he's a smart cat in the fact that he's prepared for life after football. And I'm not ruling out that he may coach. Who knows? We saw Mike Miller, the greatest of the special teamers, go into coaching. And boy, I tell you what, his special teams are going effing phenomenal. It's crazy, man. 2 weeks in a row, 2 touchdowns. Albeit Mario Alford really blooped that one. That was as I used to say, that was the Bonfire Sports turning point.
Burning point.
Oh, burning point. Oh, you got to play these games with the word games, don't you?
Absolutely.
I thought you had
we had a lot of fun on Game Day After Dark after the Labor Day Classic. A little bit of a different look and feel. Schnitzy and I kind of posted up in the hotel room, and it was fun. I'm sure
that's
you
a nice
saw
article, by the way.
Hey,
I was going to just say it was a very nice article that 3 Down Football did on Schnitzer and his mother-in-law. I thought it was very
Zach
nice.
Schnitzer wrote the article, and 3 Down Nation posted a beautiful tribute to his mother-in-law. Of course, Zach, he's been very vocal about this. Used to go to games with his father for years. That's, everybody has that origin story or that family connection to the game of football, right, Chris? And his father passed away way too young. And his mother-in-law, born in Regina, has family there. Blue Bombers faithful, she's a huge Bombers fan. And she started going to the games with Schnitzy, her son-in-law, which is amazing. And then losing her way too early. This
to that dreaded
a few weeks ago. Very beautiful tribute written by Zach Schnitzer on the 3 Down Nation website, and of course all our thoughts are with him. But
F off cancer.
It's absolutely brutal. Talking to Schnitzy this week, he even mentioned it in the article about his mother-in-law, is the great time he had in Regina, his first Labor Day experience. Being on the bus with the 1930 crew, we had so much fun. The postgame was a ton of fun. I think, everybody out there had a great time. And, the postgame was tons of fun. The bus was fun. I have no doubt it's only going to grow for next season. I'm sure you saw, Chris, a lot of the social media posts of the 1930 crew. All of us out there, Hustler and everybody.
I was going to ask you, though, how was the bus?
It's great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you have a few
beers?
Really?
Well, everyone's like, come on, Bombing, I know you're working, but we're on the bus. Let's go. And I'm like, are we out of Brandon yet? Are we out of Brandon? Okay, we're past Brandon. And I showed them a little farmer trick where you take the tab off the top of the beer.
Yeah.
And you kind of use it to saw the thin part of the can, at the top of the can. And you saw it. And then you kind of got it's like a shotgunning a beer, but you can still just sip it. So I showed them that, and then I put it back, and I go, okay, they're going to be off my case now. They're going to be stopping, forcing all these bomber beers on me the whole bus ride. But I had a blast. The bus was great. The people were great. We had prizes and swag bags from Bonfire Sports. I know some of you guys are maybe noticing the new hats. This is a prototype. This is not how they look. But if people are going to the event tonight, Chris, which is in support, here's a connection, in support of Cancer Care Manitoba, it's the Prairie Rivalry Bash, the Banjo Bowl Bash, at Finn McCool's on Grant. Happens at 7:30 tonight. I'm going to have a stack of hats. If you want your first chance at a bonfire hat, like the classic with the B in the middle. We got some stitching done today. We're going to be there and ready to go.
Yeah. Nice. And I can wear my new Bonfire Sports hat.
Well, you're giving free publicity to Ends Brothers here. I got to go to Big and Tall and get you some shirts for some new Bonfire.
If Ends Brothers are watching, I need a boat cover. I need a boat cover, a snap-on cover for a 20-foot Cypress K Sea Breeze pontoon. Text me, brother. I need it. Anyway, let's get back to the game.
Yeah. So protecting 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙨 Collaros will obviously be important, and still no return of Stanley Bryant. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there.
Yeah,
I think this is just something that's lingering, right? Moving from the 6-game to the 1-game injured list, I think is a positive indication. All of these moves, all of these things you see on the depth chart, so often, Chris, we know this. It's Mike O'Shea. Yeah. It's the Blue Bombers doing what they do. It's a lot of preventative. It's a lot of, paper moves, if you will. Similar to how Shane Gauthier is listed as the starter here, and Michael Ayers, the rookie, listed at number 3 on the depth chart. This is more about, seniority in the locker room. Michael Ayers is going to get more snaps than Tanner Cadwallader at linebacker. Same with Charbonneau and Wheats, right? On the offensive line, Pat Neufeld comes off the 6-game injured list, will start back at right guard. That allows 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙨 to back up as he has for the majority of the season. And Micah Vanterpool will remain on the roster. He was the 6th and only backup offensive lineman last week, Chris. But what have you seen from this group, especially with sharpened eyes on protecting 𝘎𝙤𝙧𝙨 Collaros in this game?
Well, you know what? A couple weeks ago, the game before the Saskatchewan Labor Day game, I believe that Randolph came over from the right guard, Kendall Randolph, and went to left tackle, and he really struggled. I thought he had a hard time. Last week, I thought he really played well. So as much as I was a little hard on him for 2 weeks ago, I thought last week that Kendall Randolph at the left tackle did a really nice job. They gave up 1 sack. I don't know who gave it up, but I just thought the line as a whole played a pretty dang good game. And obviously it's going to be energized a little better now that you got Patty Neufeld back. Patty's another one of these guys that he's a stalwart. I mean, he's a stud. He's been at that position forever, but he's also getting up in the old, the age. I think, they're starting to carbon date these guys. So you know what? Yeah, you got, that's what happens when you get up to that age. I mean, the injuries take longer to recover from, but I think it's a big
drop
bonus.
in level of play though from some of these veteran guys. That's the conversation people want to get into, Chris, is age becoming a factor in Winnipeg's performance?
Age can be, because like I said, you're at this stage in a season where nobody's playing 100%. All the time, everybody's got nicks and knacks and injuries somehow, whether it's a toe, turf toe, and stuff that you don't talk about, or a finger, or whatever you got to do. You just got to play through it. Does it affect you sometimes? Absolutely. But most of the time, it's communication. Is the quarterback holding the ball too much? Is the receiver running the wrong route? We used to say that if you can give a quarterback 6 seconds, he's got all day. They should just be 100% on their passes. But that is just strange to see when you see Gabe Wallace there. I see you got him there.
Yeah, he'll be big a while. Boy. So to give people an update, shed the crutches this week. Sorry, Chris. Gabe Wallace shed the crutches this week. So I don't think this is a season-ending injury per se or necessarily, but it will be towards the end of the season for him. We know Dalton Schoen is out for the year. Jamal Parker and Cameron Lawson, both out for the season as well. Miles Fox, I have no update on him. I really don't know what's happening on with Miles Fox. Same with Bailey Feltmate. That's a relatively new injury too to the Canadian fullback. But as Adam Bighill lands on the 6, and as I mentioned earlier, I would be surprised if he played again this season. Do not know that for sure. Nothing confirmed. Purely speculation. You have to wonder when Brian Cole will be ready to return to weak side linebacker. And Kyrie Wilson, I understand he is close. So we will see Kyrie Wilson again, barring any sort of snag or setback, which is big, big news if Adam Bighill doesn't play again this season. Winnipeg needs those veterans back in the middle of this defensive front. They're pretty nicked.
Yeah, and I can see Tony Jones taking over the middle if Adam doesn't come back. And then I can see Kyrie's just moving into Tony's weak side linebacker spot. But a lot of speculation right now. We have to deal with what we got today. This is the pudding that was put on our plate. We got to talk about it. I mean, there's some things that I have a little concern about, buddy. The second half. The Bombers gave up 31 first downs last week. 31. That's incredible. And to lose again, and to have Saskatchewan lose, I mean, they had almost 500 yards offense. Saskatchewan did.
My messages this week were littered with fans saying, why are the Blue Bombers only rushing 3 and dropping? It's back to that old bend, don't break defense. And then I think it was like the last play of the game when you would expect them to be in that deep drop prevent, they blitzed. Yeah. And it was that tendency breaker that they tried to throw at the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Trevor Harris went off in the Labor Day Classic. He threw for 368 yards. They were moving
3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Yeah, they moved the football. I thought he found holes, like big holes. He was hitting some guys that were just wide open. I mean, Sean Bain, Schaefer Baker, Keyshawn Johnson now, who has 3 touchdowns in his last 3 games. I mean, they've got some guys. They're starting. It looks like they're going to start 𝙎𝙥𝙬𝙧𝙨. And that kid, I really like that kid. Big strapping receiver. Yeah. He can go downfield. Monster, man, I like him. So, I mean, they got some talent. But I don't care what anybody says. Your bread and butter is in the pit, and this is a bad pit right now. I just got to. You got Noah Zer, who's starting first ever game out of Saskatchewan. 6'7", 330 pounds, by the left guard spot. He's a big boy, but he has never started. So his rear end's going to be puckered tighter than a duck's ass. So, I mean, it's going to be good. And then you got Nick Jones, 62, who was his second start. He played little tackle before, the kid out of Mississippi. They moved him into right guard. They're trying to do anything they can. The big loss, there it is right there, buddy. You hit him. The 2 linemen, but Peter Godbar, he was their starting center. So now you got a guy who's played every position starting in Logan Furland, who they just love.
He's an incredible player. Versatile. He played tackle. He'll play center. He'll play guard. It's unreal.
Yep. And the thing is, they're just blowing him up. I mean, and they should. That's such a tough thing. Think about this now, DB. You're going into enemy territory, one of the loudest, if not the loudest fan base in the CFL.
100%
with
the loudest, yep.
two new guards and a new center who's got to make all the calls. He's got to make all the calls. He has to recognize that defense, snap it out to the rest of the guys so they know who they got to block. Think about audibling. Yeah, you can audible all the time, but usually you got a veteran line in front of you that understands. You got codes, red, yellow, red, blue, whatever. You can always use your fingers to give a number to the receivers if you're changing it. But it's really tough. And I tell you what, with these new guys in there at both guards and the new center, you're going to have at least 2 to 3 procedure calls. I'm telling you right now. Chris, could be a field day. Could be a field day for the Bomber defense.
Just to catch people up, we know Winnipeg started 0-4 and we're 2-6 on a short week, 5 days rest, going into a back-to-back against the then division-leading BC Lions, who were coming off a bye, and it was, oh boy, the Bombers are 2-6, and looking at back-to-back against a rested first-place BC Lions team with the then MOP frontrunner Vernon Adams Jr. running things. Winnipeg has won 4 straight games to be 6-6 and sit in virtual first place in the West Division. They hold the tiebreaker against the BC Lions. This Banjo Bowl will determine the tiebreaker against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, if that even factors in, because of course they have the tie. But to catch people up on the Saskatchewan Roughriders season, we know they came bursting out of the gate, and they have had very close losses. But I hate to pat myself on the back, but I said it when they were 5-1 to start the season. they were, I did not think they were a legitimate, well-rounded, first place football team. They have gone 1-5-1 in their past 7 games. They are on dire straits. Their points for and points against have pretty much gotten back to even. Of course, BC's is there too, losing 25-0. That'll do it. Winnipeg has been able to turn their season around as far as points for and points against with some strong defensive performances. Still not scoring at a rate I think would be on pace, with a team that is in first place. But Saskatchewan, like the conversation in Saskatchewan, Chris, is when will this team win again? Can this team win again? They are scraping and clawing for any sort of positive momentum right now. A Banjo Bowl win may do that. It's amazing how a win in the Labor Day Classic can be quickly erased by a loss the following week. The 20th annual rematch of this of the Labor Day Classic, the 20th annual Banjo Bowl.
Nothing fix a losing streak like a win. Nothing gets the monkey off your back than a win. But when you're going into enemy territory, as I said, probably the loudest fan base in the CFL, and I'm going to give kudos to, I think, a very close Saskatchewan fan base. But having said that, with all the changes on that O-line, and knowing how important it is for communication, knowing how important it is to get the call out right, it just speaks volumes how difficult it's going to be. Trevor Harris is going to have to play lights out, and their running game is going to have to come and show up for a change. They're good passing the ball. They don't run the ball very much. They're 8th in the league. They average a couple. I don't know what even the average a game, but it's not good. Frankie Hickson, here's
the numbers.
I thought he was going to be. They're saying right now that kid they got cut out of Ottawa. They signed Jamal Morrow, the old Saskatchewan Roughrider. Arquette, I think he's a running back. And they're all over Saskatchewan to sign him because obviously 𝘎𝙥𝙤𝙧𝙯 is he's got both hips are messed up. I don't think you'll see him again. And they spent a lot of money on Thor to come play for them.
They did.
It was a great marketing move, but I don't think it's going to translate on the football field. So you take a look at what they got for the injured list, man. Oh, boy. They got some. Look at all the old linemen. My God. I mean, we're talking what? Philip Briggs, Jacob Bramer, Zach Fry, Peter Godbar, Jamarcus Hardrick. We forgot about him. The guy that became the highest paid American O-lineman in the CFL. Now he's out. Now, I don't know if I think they're saying that he can come back.
Ryan Sevier.
Right. Yeah, he's very good too. It's like a starting lineup that's hurt.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. There's your starting receiver in Mitch Picton. There's your starting running back in 𝘎𝙥𝙤𝙧𝙯. There's your starting defensive lineman in Anthony Lanier. Your starting O-line includes Jamarcus Hardrick, Peter Godber, Ryan Sevier, Jacob Bremer started at tackle against the Blue Bombers in their first game this season. Philip Blake, obviously on the offensive line. It's incredible how banged up they are, and how desperate the Roughriders are for a win. But as you know, Chris, in a dogfight, the desperate dog, you could say, is the favorite. And I think there's a reason why Winnipeg is only a 2.5-point favorite at home.
Yeah. I mean, I've already said this to you every show. I haven't gone to many games. This will be my first game this year. I'm going to be in the Alumni Alley with Paul Bennett and Rick House and Trevor Kennard and Stan. It's going to be a great time. The energy is going to be fantastic. And I say this, it's great to watch it on TV because you got your beer right beside you. You can crack it. You don't have to worry about standing in line. You got to go to the can. You just take a couple steps. But when you're at the game, it's just a total atmosphere. It's a different atmosphere. Your hair stands up on your arms. It doesn't on my head because I don't have any more. But on my arms it does. And I'm jacked about going to see this game. Jacked about seeing some guys. I'm going to hook up with some of the guys for their tailgate party. It just has. You always hope to build up matches the game. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Because to me, man, I like Saskatchewan, but I like the Bombers more in this one. And I think we could see. Do you know Zach threw for 5 touchdowns last Labor Day? Last Banjo Bowl. Last year, he threw for 5 touchdowns.
Was it 5?
Is this the game when he threw for 5 touchdowns? Is this the game when Zach comes out of his, goes from a moth to a butterfly and flies around the football field?
He led 3 touchdown drives, right? He threw a 44-yard touchdown to Nick Dembski in the first half of the Labor Day Classic. He led 2 long touchdown drives that Chris Streveler punched in. Zach Collaros had 218 yards passing in the first half. He was on pace for like a 450-yard passing day.
And he likes Saskatchewan.
Whatever.
And then, like I said, you don't have to worry about it even if you get to midfield. Now you got a freaking guy that's a freak right now in Sergio, who's kicking 9 of 11 over 50 yards. His leg is so bloody strong. I don't know what he's on. He's on some kind of protein powder.
He's on he's on the fiery hot Cheetos on the.
He likes the Cheetos, yeah.
Yeah, out of
Cheetos.
the freezer.
He puts some kind of crazy, I think milk or some crazy thing he makes it. Anyway,
he freezes them.
That's what he does.
He puts it on pizza. He puts the spicy hot Cheetos out of the freezer, cold Cheetos on the hot pizza. That's what he does after every game.
Well, I know. Listen, the guy.
He should be rewarding himself, Chris. He is having an incredible season.
He's a special team player of the year right now, without it. But they have such a great connection. 3 guys, Mike Benson and Jamison, he's a holder. They are really on fire. They're getting the snap right on. The hold is always perfect. They always got to spin. For those of you who don't know, you always got to spin the laces away from the kicker's foot, and they're doing a fantastic job, I think. And that's why I say you go to midfield, you got a chance, to kick a 55 or a 60-yarder again. When you got a kicker like that, man, you got to keep your team force punts from deep in their own end. You can't let them even get to center field. So,
and let's remember that twister that Jam Sheehan put on that punt that led to the Nick Hallett touchdown. That was our bonfire burning point on the postgame show, Game Day After Dark, because if it wasn't for that, like a 2-point win, you needed that special teams score.
Well,
you needed that big play. And that's where they got it. Collaros did his job. Chris Streveler, I mean, nobody ever expects him to beat you with his arm. And when he has to take over a game and be the quote unquote starting quarterback, I think, they know what he is good at. So they limit him in that. He only threw the ball a handful of times in the second half, but he didn't, he managed the game. He did what Winnipeg needed to do. The defense slipped a little bit, but if it wasn't for that special teams play, that game would have gone a different way. And here's the thing. There are some critics out there of Jam Sheehan, the Australian bred University of California, NCAA player now in Canada, that he is not in that top 5, top 6, top 7, top 8 punters in the CFL when it comes to net yardage and this and that and the other. But if you can do what he did in the Labor Day Classic and cause Mario Elford to muff a punt return and you can score a touchdown off of that, wouldn't you take that over 3, 4, 5 net yards of average punt on a season?
Yeah, I would. But I also think that there was a punt that he should have caught and he let it bounce in the end zone, gave up a point too, and they weren't really pleased with that as well. Yeah. He's still in there. He's still going to be doing the returns. He's a guy that's got a touchdown on a kickoff return to his on his resume right now. But I just think that there's so much that has to happen. Now, on the plus side for Saskatchewan, not that I got it, but I got to give him a little build up there too.
Sure.
This is the number 1 team. They've taken Brady out of both games, 42 and 49. They held him to 1 catch last game, and he has become a release valve for Zach Collaros. He had 1 catch. He now has 38, which is a new season high for him. But this is a team that's number 1 against the rush. Number 1, yeah. I mean, 1 for 9. There's his catching, yeah. I mean, they're number 1 in turnovers. They're number 1 in sacks. They're number 1 in interceptions. They're number 1 in fumble recoveries. They create turnovers. And that's their only way they're winning this football game, boys, is if they create turnovers and they force the Bombers to make mistakes on offense. I swear that's the only way. I just think our defense will tighten up. I think that Jordan Younger, the defense coordinator, along with Richie Hall, the assistant, hard to believe you said assistant, but yeah, we'll make the adjustments to tighten up the coverage. So that's what I'm looking at.
Here's the interception.
That was the interception.
From our old friend Marcus Sayles. Chris, there's a lot of criticism on Zach Collaros this season and his interception touchdown ratio, his totals, all of that. I give him the benefit of the doubt, and objectively, I understand, hey, it's a Bomber show. They're gonna polish a turd or whatever. Zach Collaros isn't playing well enough. He is playing well enough, and new O-line, different receivers, not having Dalton Schoen, missed assignments, receivers slipping, balls have bounced off of helmets, balls have been tipped at the line of scrimmage. That said, this exact throw is one that he has thrown picks on multiple times this year. It's a short receiver hook route, and it's bit him a couple times this year. There he is with Buck Pierce now on the sidelines for the Blue Bombers, no longer up in the booth. But watch this right where you see this next gen logo. It's just a short hook route, and there's pressure. And
he's
the
got
window is small, but he's thrown this a bunch of times this year. I think it's an ill-advised throw. He's really been trying to force it.
Yeah, and I think also I'm going to give credit to Marcus Sayles for jumping that too, because they're trying to get the ball to Ontario Wilson, who's leading the Bombers in receptions and catches. But I think sometimes you get too comfortable with the receiver and you try and get it to your number one receiver. He's got some pressure, as you can see. Yeah, there's some guys coming from the left side. Throws it, doesn't set his feet. And look at the coverage. There's three guys all around there, triple coverage. They got over the top. They got to the side. And that was a great play, a great break on the ball by Marcus Sayles, who also shows some athletic ability.
Marcus Sayles, we remember him here in Winnipeg, whether it was on special teams, he'd block punts, he'd get a hand on field goals, those sorts of things. And he would also rack up the interception numbers. It's the reason why he signed with the Minnesota Vikings after 3 outstanding seasons in Winnipeg, then signed the big 3-year free agent deal, big money to join the BC Lions. He is a ball hawk. He is an incredible talent at using his eyes and taking opportunity to take the ball away. So you do have to give credit to the defender sometimes, but that particular throw, I will, look, I'm not an expert. Chris, you played in the league for 16 years. You're a Hall of Famer.
What?
You called 10 Grey Cups on CBC television, right?
Yeah.
And even you aren't a quarterback expert. There's things that happen in these games that we don't know, we don't see. But I will criticize that throw because I've seen it over and over again, and Collaros get picked off on it.
There's one thing I also want to hit on that I think is really, really cool, and that is Micah Johnson going from defensive tackle, playing the whole second half at right guard for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. That is, to me, that's an athlete. That is an athlete that can make that transition. Hasn't practiced. They didn't expect him to play guard, and he has to go in there because of injuries to the Saskatchewan O-line last week. Plays an entire half. That's a game ball for me. I just, even though it's on the opposition, I just think it's such a great thing. Micah Johnson, who leads Saskatchewan with 6 sacks, 20 tackles, just a horse in that middle. And
there's
now
a double number, right? Where's 4 on defense? Would wear 57 when playing on the offensive line. There's Miles Brown, who hit Zach Collaros. We remember him. 90 on the D-line, 60 on the O-line. And Winnipeg does the same thing, right, with Jake Thomas. There's 95 on the D-line and 62 on the O-line. That just makes them eligible players on the offense.
Because of the numbers, yes, exactly. But, I look at that. I think, like I said, this guy, there's some build-ups here. You got an offense that I think is coming around in the Bombers, going against what I think is a really tough Saskatchewan defense. And I think the Bombers, who are number one against the pass on their defense, they don't take many penalties. They're number one. They've only taken 24 penalties all year defensively, the best in the league. Going against, I think, a very hot-handed Trevor Harris. If he can start out the game like he did in the second half against the Bombers in the Labor Day, and then we're going to have a classic.
Hey,
but
Chris,
it's all going to come.
Okay. What? I keep cutting you off today. It's like there's a little delay in the.
You got hurt. You should tell everybody you got a little concussed, man.
Do I look hungover?
No, you got concussed. You told me about that, and I think it's
I've had my fair share in my life. Playing football, riding my bike,
take care of yourself.
hockey.
All right, don't be stupid.
Yeah, no,
Go ahead.
I
Finish
do
your,
my best.
finish
I
your-
always wear my helmet, but sometimes it happens. I got rocked pretty good, and it's no laughing matter.
No laughing
That's
matter.
for sure.
I know.
But a
All
lot of
right,
people out there
go
are
ahead.
like, man, Bombing looks hungover from the Labor Day trip with the 1930 crew.
No.
I behaved myself, but when I got
Yes, you do.
back,
Yes, you
I'm like,
do.
oh, let's
Yeah.
get on the bike. Let's work off this, travel diet I was on, and smacked myself pretty good. I had a rough day yesterday, but I am fine. I'm on the mend. Everything's good. But it's funny.
Crazy that you hurt yourself on an indoor cycle bike.
Gust
Where'd
of
you fall
wind.
off you fell off his recumbent bike.
Yeah. Air conditioner
Sorry.
turned on, blew me off the bike.
Let me just tell you, and I'm making light of it because I know it's more serious, but
I know.
it's never a good thing. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, man. We got to get back on the thing so I can.
No, of course.
I got to go to my grandson's.
No, I don't want to go on and on about it. I am fine. It's the reason I say it's funny is because I was literally going to segue
Funny.
and say, before we get your keys to the game, Chris Walby, I want to talk about our good friends at Pure Lifestyle. They have got you covered top to bottom. And I mean, look, I see my doctor there. They have incredible facilities. There's their gym, but it's their medical facilities. Whether you got a strain, a sprain, a break, a deep cut, Pure's got you covered with their minimal wait time, minor injury walk-in clinic. You got a job site injury, sports-related pain. Their new medical facilities. Okay, this is their gym that you're seeing on your screen, but they have a beautiful, state-of-the-art, brand new medical clinic. And it's not just for minor injuries, but they do have in-house x-ray, casting, stitches. They'll get you back to enjoying summer in no time. But whether you need someone to talk to, a little mental health support, physical health support, you're looking for a new GP, a new family doctor, you can bring the kids, bring your spouse, tell your friends. Pure Winnipeg is the city's premier proactive healthcare facility. You can see all of these outstanding testimonials on their website, purewinnipeg.com. You can find them at 1129 Emperor Street, just north of Polo Park, right by the Rona and Garbage Hill, which, if you go there to do some work in the gym, you can run up and down the hill. That's always good for you. So purewinnipeg.com, as well as you can get them a quick call, 204-338-PURE. But they will take great care of you. And thanks to them for supporting Bonfire Sports. And thanks to everybody out there for supporting Bonfire Sports. You guys were awesome in following us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and everywhere we live. You guys are there following, subscribing, liking the videos. Commenting is huge. Sharing it with people helps so much. Everybody in the live chat, great to see you all. I'm really excited for the Banjo Bowl. Hit that thumbs up. That helps us a lot. But why we are all here is for Chris Walby's keys to the game. Critical for the Bombers to capture the 20th annual Banjo Bowl. They have swept this series, Chris. How many times? 4 times. 2004, 2016, 2021, and 2022. Can they do it a 5th time and avoid a split for a 9th time with the Roughriders?
Yeah, I think they got all the cards to me are in their favor with the crowd, the sold out crowd, the way they're playing, the way they're coming on right now, the health getting Pat Newfield back. And I think, it's just a matter of, for offensively, touchdowns. We need to score some touchdowns. Listen, a special team player, Sergio, is having a career year, but you need to score touchdowns. We've only scored 19, the worst in the CFL. We got to prevent turnovers. We're the worst in the league. We turned over the ball in offense 26 times. Can't do that. You just got to protect the football. Defensive, you got to play aggressive. And you got to get in Trevor. You can't let Trevor Harris, who I think is playing top-notch ball right now, the quarterback for Sask. You know what? He threw the ball 31 first downs. They had 480 or 60 yards offense. Can't let that happen again. You got to get in his face. You got to disrupt his rhythm. Don't let him go. Special teams, can we do 3 weeks in a row by getting a touchdown? And then, of course, my buddy that I think, and I don't even know him, to be honest with you, but I think he's my pick right now, front runner for special team player of the year. Sergio, what does he do? He freezes his what? Cheetos? I don't know, it doesn't matter, whatever he freezes. You know what? All you have to do is get to center field, and that man will kick a field goal. So, I mean,
The blazing hot Cheetos.
9 of 11 over 50. 260-yarders already. The man's a machine. He's strong. He's kicking great. He's so confident right now. So those are my keys. I'm going to go 34. I never even do this before, but 34-17 Bombers. There you go.
Got a score
I don't
prediction.
even do that.
Wow.
First time ever. I don't like doing it. Yeah, now I might have to eat some crow, but we'll see.
Maybe spicy hot Cheetos. No crow.
Well,
you know what?
Go, brother.
You gonna have a Walby burger? You're going to your first game this year.
They won't give it to me. Wade does not give me that. Wade is my brother, but he having a big party tonight too. Just I don't have Wade's address, so I put it out there just for everybody. But he's having a pre-banjo party at his house.
You're talking your like little live chat. Okay. Yeah.
We got to go to. We can't go to it. I'm going to get my grandson a fish. So
yeah, you mentioned that before we started the show. What do you mean you're getting your grandson a fish for
his birthday was a bit back, and what happened was I bought him one of those little aquariums, a 3.5-gallon aquarium.
Oh,
beautiful thing with the LED light and the filter. Well, he's always had he wanted aquariums because I used to have a 90-gallon for 40 years. Anyway, so then he said, well, "This is great, Big Papa, but what do I put in it?" So I said, "Okay, you're right. You set it up on Wednesday. I'll come see it tonight or this afternoon." And we'll take him to the fish shop and let him pick out a fish.
Oh, I thought you were gonna like hang a line off of the bridge and try to pull in a walleye or something for him.
Give him a bullhead, a little baby bullhead. We got tons at the lake. I could have put a couple in there, but they grow. Yeah. But I think I might get him a fighting fish because they like the solitary.
They like
by
the
themselves.
Solitary. Yes,
and they're beautiful colors. So I might have to do that. But anyway, that's that. I digress again. I've used that word twice, so that's enough for me.
Well. Mike O'Shea, I'll mention this. Speaking of solitary, Mike O'Shea at 102 career victories, tied for 10th all-time among CFL coaches with John Huffnagel and Bud Grant. So a win in the Banjo Bowl will leave Mike O'Shea more solitary at 9th in all-time CFL head coach wins. Yeah. Nick Dembski, 70 yards away from hitting 5,000 in his career. And Willie Jefferson needs one sack to become the 29th player to reach 75 sacks in his, no doubt, Hall of Fame football career. This game has got so much going for it, Chris. Tons of fun to talk to you, as always, before the game. We're going to get Game Day After Dark fired up immediately following the 20th Annual Banjo Bowl, right back here on Bonfire Sports. And if you want the early access tonight, Friday night, it's the Prairie Rivalry Bash. Look at this. Woo-wee. New Bonfire hats. Come see me at Finn's on Grant. Zach Schnitzer tweeted out all of the things. I think it's Bomber Vixen and Bomber Reaper. Two outstanding individuals have put this together in support of Cancer Care Manitoba. Come on down, say hi. I've seen Kyle Walters there. I've seen all types of, I think Mike O'Shea's popped in years past, Wade Miller, lots of people. We still got to get you and I down there for maybe a show next year, Chris. I think that would be fun, but
yeah, I think we'd have a blast.
Yeah. Have fun at the game. Holy cow. You're going to the Madhouse for the Banjo Bowl.
Yeah. I look forward to seeing a bunch of people at the tailgate and at Alumni Alley with a bunch of my old former teammates. So enjoy the game. Enjoy the night. It's supposed to be beautiful weather next week, too, as a matter of fact. Yeah. Have a great time. Who do we play next week?
They got the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
That's right. There you go. The Tiger Cats.
Well, it's a bye.
Tiger Cats.
It's a bye week, Chris.
Is it a bye?
Yeah.
Next week?
I'm totally out to lunch. I'm wrong. I'm out to lunch.
After Hamilton.
Hey,
after
it's like
Hamilton,
I got hit.
Right?
It's like I fell off my stationary bike yesterday.
You fall off your recumbent bike.
The Bombers have a bye. The Bombers have a bye, and then a home and home against the Edmonton Elks.
Remember anything he said?
It begins in Edmonton on September 21st, which happens to be the Winnipeg Jets' first preseason game at home. So a 6 o'clock for the Bombers in Edmonton, a 7 o'clock for the Jets against the Wild at Canada Life Center. Good time to mention. These guys, we got a new team member joining Bonfire Sports. We're going to get tons of hockey content going here on the channel. We're not doing pregame, postgame shows or whatever. There's a lot of those out there. Great people with Kenny and Rennie and A Legal Curve and Winnipeg Sports Talk and so many others. We're going to do some different things covering the Winnipeg Jets this year. But have fun at the game, Chris. Don't eat too many Walby burgers. Definitely get your coldies in. And we'll talk to you after the bye week.
All right, brother. You have a great day. Love everybody, man. Have a good time. Chat. I'm going to start working on some songs pretty soon because it's almost playoff time. But I got to trim this too, man. I got to get my red suit ready for the kids. All right. Good. I just want to say this. Adios. Bye-bye. I got to go, man. Go. Get out of here.